Thank you for watching the UN Brief, and don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. It's really my great pleasure to talk to you today. And I also would like to say that I'm not the only one behind the WHO social media channels. There is a whole team behind it. And my role also has evolved through time, that I'm also working now more closely with leadership and social media platforms. And there are more of my colleagues who are covering corporate social media channels, how we like to say. But even before this exact work, I worked in WHO on health and environment, as well in a domain of communications. My background, my studies were in management and organization, in particular quality management, and there was a lot of focus on private sector, how to make services and products with better quality, so that you could keep your clients happy. But then I moved to Geneva to do my master's on standardization, public policy, and sustainable development. And that's when I discovered WHO. And I discovered organizations that do more things for greater good. And I just wanted to be part of that rather than to be part of a private sector.
And what kind of studies and training you undertook in order to prepare you for the role you have today?
So I think it was also probably was a good time when I came to Geneva to do my master's, as we were studying a lot about sustainable development goals that were to be adopted. So I started my master, I think, in 2013, and finished when the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted. So I think at that moment, the UN system and WHO were looking into this new agenda that was also requiring to have people with different backgrounds and skills than traditionally having medical professionals, public health professionals, or people with the international relations background. So I think that at that moment I was a good fit with my different background and also broad background, but in particular master studies that were looking into public policy, sustainable development, and in particular studying the sustainable development goals. So it is an interesting combination, but also with my bachelor, as I mentioned, the management and organization, I had a lot of studies, marketing, communication, special events. So I believe that's what helped me to become communications and now social media specialist.
And how do you measure the impact of your content and campaigns?
So we look into shareability, or how I like to say digital word of mouth. So we are listening regularly and monitoring how our followers are engaging with our content, how they are digesting it and consuming it in an interesting way. So we want people to stop when they see it. We compete with a lot of interesting content: friends on holidays, children, memories, top news, and you know probably yourself as well, when you scroll on a social media feed, there are like few seconds that you have to, maybe even less, to catch someone's attention. So we are trying to create our content in a way that people stop to see it, but they also like it enough that they want to share it with their loved ones and their communities, to help us to raise awareness on various health issues, not only emergencies that we've been in the spotlight a lot in past few years. So for this reason, shareability for health is how we measure our success on social media, and so far it did help us to grow our presence quite a lot, and also to reach, I'm confident to say, billions of users around the world.
Yes, indeed. You have massive amounts of people who actually share and engage with your content every day. And I would like to know a bit more, how do you measure that in terms of using software? What kind of software do you use? Do you use Kantar? Do you use Meltwater? There are a number of software that can be used tools that can be used in order to assess how these campaigns are doing. What do you prefer to use? Do you use a combination? or do you use proprietary software?
So we rely heavily on native data from our channels, and we have a colleague, Giselle, who is doing an amazing job actually in building our own databases and updating them on a weekly basis. So this help us to follow in depth all the trends across our channels and across our posts. Of course, we use some third-party tools like Talkwalker that helps us more on monitoring conversations and sentiment. But in terms of the data and engagement, we are relying heavily on the data that we have from the platforms and also on the specialists that we have in the team to digest and analyze those data. And our decisions for growth or change in tactics are based on this real-time data and the work that Giselle has been doing.
And what advice would you give to people who are thinking of a career in diplomacy or in an international organization?
So I would say to trust your instincts, to follow your passion, a good cause that you're passionate about and that you believe you can make a change. Also, I would say from a digital perspective to ensure to be a player in a fair game and also to be a voice in truthful dialogues, both online and offline. In my country, we say that the world rests on younger ones. So I'm confident that future international civil servants and diplomats will turn the tide better than us. And of course, I also hope that more young women will take initiative, but also being given a chance within UN and diplomat circles.
Thank you for watching the UN Brief, and don't forget to subscribe.